Alright guys, so today we're going to look at the Apeman C860 dash camera. This is actually a dual camera setup from Apeman with the 1440 front and a 1080p rear. I've actually been playing with this particular camera, the front at least, for a few weeks now. Really happy with the video quality. And so I've already got part of it installed. So this is going to be your car charger, which is actually already in the car. Already in my car. Just drop some of the adhesive. So it's got a USB-C to USB-C cable for the connection of the rear camera. And here's the rear camera. This is a very nice upgrade over the lower model Apeman dash camera that has the rear, which is more like a rear view camera than it is like a rear view camera, backup camera, than it is a dash cam camera. So this is the adhesive that you peel off. It's adjustable, so it can go on the back of a truck, which was an issue with the lower model Apeman, and you can see that this also rotates. So you can, if your car's got a nice slant to it, you can still get that back glass. So if you can see here on this car, you've got all these defrost lines. So that's why I've got the masking tape, or if you have painter's tape, that works as well. What I'll do is I will actually tape this with the masking tape to get the correct view, because the last thing you want is for that camera to be lined up with one of these defrost lines, and then you end up having that in the field of view for your car. So I always recommend get your placement first with here, put your SD card in your computer, and that will help you ensure that you've got a clear line of view that's not obstructed by your defrost. So like I said, I've already been playing with this camera a little bit. The USB that it comes with that connects to your charger actually already has a spare USB, so you're still able to plug your phone in. Very nice feature. It does come with a suction cup mount, but I have replaced that, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, with a mount that Apeman also carries that mounts on your rear view camera. The only con to this is that when you move your rear view camera, you kind of have to wiggle this a little bit to make sure it stays straight. But other than that, I like it a lot better than the suction cup mount. I just don't like the look of it if it goes on your window. And also I've noticed that after about a year or so, especially in the hot sun that we have here, that they eventually fail and fall down. So this won't fall down as long as your rear view mirror doesn't fall down. So what we're gonna do today is I am going to show y'all a little bit about how I hide all the wiring. Even coming up through here, it's not gonna be anything special, but we're just going to try and tuck it in here so it makes it a little bit cleaner install. And then also for that rear view camera, we're also going to hide that wiring all the way back to the rear of the car. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to move this guy out of the way a little bit, and we'll tilt that camera up maybe so we can see a little bit better. Get all this untangled. Yeah, I've been playing with this camera for, like I said, for a few weeks now, and man, I'm just really impressed by the video quality, especially for kind of more of a budget-minded dash cam. I think it's still about $100, but I have some other dash cameras that I've played with before that are $200 or $300, and at least the front camera is completely in line with those more expensive cameras. The rear camera isn't quite as good, but it's still really good. But when you're comparing a $100 camera to a $300 camera, you do expect that there is going to be some differences in the quality of the video. So essentially you're just going to pull this down just a hair, and you'll usually feel, there's no way I can get a picture of this, but you can usually feel a little lip from the top of the roof of the car, and you just want to make sure it's pushed just on the back side of that lip. This weather stripping, you can usually just pull down by hand. Sometimes you'll need to be careful. Some vehicles have a little like a glue sealant that can get really sticky if you're not careful. And this one's actually really difficult to get off. Once you get it started, it comes right down. These just snap off, these clips right here, and the bottom will slide in like this. Now remember, on these, it has that hook, so you're going to slide it down and then you'll push back and it'll lock in place. There's actually a slot in the carpet itself on here. There we go. Good to go back here. Slide this back on. One of the things I don't recommend doing is taking this weather stripping all the way off at any point, because it can be hard to line back up where it started and stopped. So after you're done with one side, go ahead and put it back, and then you can put the other side down. I wasn't quite sure how I'm going to run this. Y'all are learning with me. Probably didn't need to take that bottom piece off after all. The smarter thing to do, instead of doing what I did, is to start at the cigarette lighter plug instead of at the camera, because now I have to put this big cigarette lighter plug through the car instead of the other small end of the camera. It would have been nice if I could have went back through here. Now I'm not able to do that. I am actually a little surprised I can't get through there. cheating a little bit because I got a fuse box right here. So again, I'm just kind of looking in the dash to see what my options are for running this wire. Anytime you can kind of hang it over stuff is a good idea. That way the wire will never hang down. You need to make sure to watch out for things like telescoping, tilting, steering wheels, and stuff like that. So my battery died on me, but we're back. I was just going to show, this was actually for what I was doing was unnecessary to take off, but if you do have something where you want to take it off and you have these things that stay in, these plastic pieces, this is technically the correct tool, but you can also do the same thing with a couple of flathead screwdrivers. It just pops out, and then you'll slide this guy back in here. That's it. To put it back in, you want to make sure it's lined up. Sometimes they'll have little clips like right in here that will connect. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. There's likely, yeah, this little gap right here. It's going to slide in there. That way the kick panel and the base plate lock in together and they don't separate. So we'll try and line that up first. Just kind of wiggle it around. The holes will find themselves. Make sure these lines are lined up. Simple as that. This guy, this is going to go behind your weather stripping, just like your kick panel is. And you'll see this piece is going to go right in that little hole. So make sure those two are lined up. And all these are going to line up. Simple as that. All three actually snapped in. Alrighty. So what I did was I kind of just crawled under here, looped this cable under some different things. Again, making sure your telescopic steering wheel isn't going to go anywhere. And then I went ahead, and in this car, it's a Sonata, these pieces actually just pull up and then pull out. It's got clips here, here, and then one here at the bottom, so it snaps in and then down. And then I routed this cable right here, so it's going to be completely out of the way. And again, definitely easier if you start here at your cigarette lighter instead of starting at your camera. My camera just already happened to be installed, so I did it backwards, which is not the best thing to do. So that snaps back in. These are still lined up, so you're good here. So that's pretty much the install. I'll just kind of tuck that underneath. What I'll do now is I have my camera here. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So this part is going to go up against the glass. So I don't want to tape this part that's going up against the glass. I want to tape it back. Okay, so a little trick that I actually just came up with, trying to get this rear camera aligned to where it's not being blocked by the rear defrost lines as much as possible anyway, is I took some of that masking tape and I actually went over, you'll see this is actually on the outside of the car, some of these defrost lines that would be in that line of vision. That way I can see it a lot better on the small screen of the onboard camera, or on the onboard screen on the camera, on the front camera itself. So that actually worked out really well. I did that. I was able to just kind of tape this in place as I was testing, made sure that it was lined up correctly, then just peeled that blue tape off the adhesive on the rear camera itself and put it in place. And I just went and double checked it on the computer and it worked out perfectly. You'll never, depending on how close together these lines are on your car, you might not ever get the defrost lines completely out of the picture, but you can at least position them in a way where it's at the top of the picture. That way, if something comes up behind you in the camera that you're wanting to pick up, the defrost lines at the top of the camera, covering more of the sky area than it is the any important information like license plates or stuff like that that you might need. So, but that's something I just came up with and it worked out really well. That's it, guys. So the install is now complete, and you'll just make sure to enjoy your camera. Every now and then you'll want to plug your camera, your SD card, into your computer to make sure that it's still recording properly. Sometimes you have to reformat those SD cards every now and then, but other than that, should give you plenty of years of trouble-free service.